Welcome back to WGTV. I'm here today with a special young lady with a very special and important job for our county system, and she has some things to tell everyone within the sound of our voice that'll be very important today too. This is Michelle Hill, and she's a wellness nurse for the Wayne County employees. Can you kind of give us an idea of what a wellness nurse does?
A wellness nurse, yes. I promote optimal health through education of various health diseases and topics. Educating the employees on how to live a healthier lifestyle. We did some biometric screenings back in July, and it gave us a lot of information about where our health needs are. So we're focused on those.
Very good. And something that you and I are going to hopefully be working on a regular monthly basis, and things that our viewers as well as myself didn't know about, and that is in health, there's a topic every month that is covered in some way. We talked about, we'll skip ahead a little bit to May, and they're dealing with melanoma. I believe we talked about with skin cancer, because Memorial Day to Labor Day are your bookends for your busy sunning time frames, and so we want people to be careful about that. But since we're here in April, I think this is Alcohol Awareness Month. Is that correct?
It is Alcohol Awareness Month.
And tell me what kind of things that you want to share with our audience today, that they may know some of this, or more importantly, they may know it and not think about it a lot. So just give us some ideas of some things that we can work on and being aware of how much alcohol we or whomever in our family might drink.
Most family members, I would think, are not immune to alcohol. In fact, they may have relatives or even loved ones that are considered to be alcoholics. We have a tendency to overlook, be more focused on the harder drugs than we do alcohol. So this is one of the reasons we want to get the alcohol awareness out there.
I think that's one thing you and I spoke briefly about, either by email or phone or whatsoever. It was that there is a real, when you're talking about the hard drugs on the street, we're talking about heroin in pharmacies or the opioids, and that is that pandemic that everybody's talking about now. But the pendulum has swung so far that way, sometimes we forget that alcohol is a drug. We say alcohol and drugs, but alcohol is a drug, and we think because we can buy it legally that we're not going to have problems with it, but that's not the case, is it?
No, it's not the case, and unfortunately, anyone can just go get it. Even teenagers will find a way to get it if they want it.
I think that's another misconception that parents and grandparents probably have in their hearts. Maybe they won't do it, but working with kids myself, as you said, they find a way.
They find a way.
What have you found with the, let's say the amount of alcohol, and we won't really stress the children right now because we have a lot of adults watching, say what a lady might be able to drink, whether it be, well, I just say alcoholic beverage because I guess that can go from wine to beer to maybe some of the harder things there. But what the differences between maybe what a woman can drink versus a man metabolism-wise?
Women's body mass sizes are smaller than men, so women should have only one drink a day. Men can have up to 2 drinks a day.
Okay. And that has to do, again, with, I guess, is that the size of a man being larger than a woman also? Or what?
Mass, and, metabolisms.
I see. So we're not telling people to go out and drink 1 or 2 a day. We're just saying if you're going to do it or you have been doing it, dial it back. Ladies, 1 a day, and the gentlemen 2.
And let's talk a little bit about the serving size.
Sure. Oh, well, that's very important because some people think a Slurpee is 1 a day.
That's right. That's right. For alcoholic beverages, a beer, 12 ounces is considered 1 serving size, 1 drink.
Okay. And that would be, I guess, serving size for either men or women. Is that right?
Okay. Correct. Men or women. For wine, 5 ounces.
Okay. So there again, if I'm calculating right, the women can have 10 ounces of wine a day, or a man too, either way. Is that right? To have 2 drinks? Is that right?
To have 2 drinks, that would be 10 ounces. That would be for a man.
That'd be for a man.
A woman should only have 5.
Okay. And then for an individual, if they're drinking beer, that would be, 1 would be the 12 ounces. Is that right? Okay.
Correct. And men could have 24 ounces.
I see. Now, another thing we talked a little earlier about, which if someone, and this could be adults or young people, are experimenting with alcohol, they might be saying, oh man, I didn't know I could have 1 or 2 a day depending on who I am. That is a stair step, isn't it? Sometimes it's called a gateway to other things.
Absolutely, absolutely. With alcohol, if you have more than one drink, and it becomes more and more drinking, because like binge drinking. So if you have more than 7 drinks in one session of drinking, it's called binge drinking. And 1 out of 6 people are binge drinking. And this occurs not just the weekends, it can occur during the week, several times throughout the week.
And I believe, again, just being a person outside the health field, when I think of binge drinking, I think you're chug-a-lugging on the weekend, you can't hardly stand up and function, but if it's 7 or more drinks a week, you might not be staggering around, but it's still considered bingeful, I guess.
Bingeful, and there's a lot of health risk involved in that. You can have immediate health risk, and you can have long-term.
Could you give us any ideas of maybe some of the immediate or long-term? I know cirrhosis maybe goes with a long-term situation.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
With the immediate, you could have like a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
You could have domestic violence. Crime rate goes up.
Mm-hmm.
All these can put your health at risk.
Right.
With long term, you have, like you said, cirrhosis of the liver. It can also cause esophageal varices, where it could erode up into your throat and cause bleeding. You could have stomach problems, high blood pressure, kidney problems, pancreatic problems, and also liver, and along with cancer and a lot. Just a lot of things.
So a bottle or a glass of whatever down the road can lead to a lot of health problems.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and again, I think that might be one of the things that people think is a myth because they don't realize. Most everyone, again, from my standpoint, have heard people who drink forever might have cirrhosis of the liver, but they don't immediately think about blood pressure and some of the other things you spoke of, especially when it comes to domestic violence as well as having an accident on the road like
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So now tell me this, is there a way that we can, I don't know if you want to say a self-care test or a way we can see if, I was using the example a while ago, maybe Aunt Jane or Uncle John is sitting here and maybe they're from another state and they're just watching us interested in what we're talking about. Maybe they're the ones, or maybe the one they came to visit is having a problem. Is there a way that the folks that are watching can say, oh, I've got a relative, or sadly, I have that same situation that might be interrupting the rest of my life?
Yes. Well, there's several self-tests, but some things you want to do is ask yourself these questions. Do you lose time from work from your drinking? Does your drinking cause family problems? Are you turning to people or hanging around people you normally don't talk to while you're drinking? Do you use alcohol as socializing because you're shy and you're able to talk? Alcohol is known to give you more of a loose lips.
Yes, right.
Loose lips.
Yes,
Do you use it, especially, do you drink because you have problems or troubles or worries?
And it doesn't have to be just you're drinking because you have a drinking problem. It could be other problems you're dealing with in your life, like you said, troubles and worries.
And another question is, has any of your family or friends talked to you, say, hey, are you drinking too much? Have you ever been accused of drinking too much?
And I know sometimes from a psychological standpoint, people who have their family members maybe that directly say something to them, they kind of, I'm not having problems with that. But if you are, or think you are, or maybe some family members have said that to you, it's maybe time to take a self-evaluation to see if that's the situation you might be in. One thing you were talking about with the loose lips a while ago, I've often heard that alcohol is like a cup of courage. It gives you that courage maybe to do something that you shouldn't do if you are on your own functioning level.
Right. It is liquid courage.
Liquid courage, that's exactly right. Now, when you were talking about troubles and worries, and that's one of the posters that we have up here today, everything seems to fall under the umbrella of stress, because a lot of times when people are stressful, they'll drink. If they're stressful, they'll do some of the harder drugs that we talked about. So before we go today, I just wanted to touch a little bit on stress issues and maybe things that we, just like with alcohol, we don't think about, but maybe leads us to some of those activities.
With stress, you mentioned that if you drink because you're stressed, but even if you drink, that's going to cause more stress. So it's like a cycle. We can't avoid stress in our life, but how we react to it is how we can deal with it.
Do you think from a standpoint of helping someone, I guess, helping themselves with stress is to talk with friends or talk with loved ones, or what's your opinion on that?
If you're having stress, always talk to someone. Go to someone that you can confide into. If you can't find someone at home, then seek elsewhere. There's always 1-800 hotline numbers that you can contact someone with, but you don't keep it inside.
Right, and I like the fact that we have those numbers, and I'm going to make sure that we post those so people will know that there are places, if you don't feel like talking with anyone that you know, you can talk with someone you don't know, and maybe that's easier to do. Getting back to some of the things that stress causes, and that's why I've been having this poster with me here today, it says that possible effects are headaches, sleeplessness, depressed moods, anxiety disorders. I didn't realize that it affected your health as much as it does.
Stress can interfere with sleep. Some people have insomnia and they can't sleep because they have all these thoughts running through their minds. One of the things that we have to remember is why we sleep is because it allows our bodies to prepare the day's damage to the body. When you go for without sleeping for so long, your body hasn't had time to repair itself. So yes, it's going to cause your irritability. It may even cause your blood pressure to go up. It's going to cause some of the anxieties, among a lot of things.
That's another thing we don't think about, the rest we need. For people maybe a little younger than I am, they are constantly, and those older than me too, are on social media quite a bit. And, I tell you, once you get on something like that, the time just kind of flies by. An hour can go, and oh my goodness, I didn't know where that was at.
It does. It does.
And then, of course, we don't want anybody to stop watching our television programs, but TV is another interrupter of our sleep. And again, as you were just saying, I think that can add to our stress levels. We have a poster behind us here that I like. It has a thermometer on it that shows us as things happen. We don't sometimes think about these being our problems there. If you would, kind of mention those that we got from the bottom right on up through there, that might be some of the stresses we go through.
Oh, stress at rush hour. So how many times have you gotten in your car, you're running late for work, and you're on E? Right. You need to stop and get gas. Yeah, that can push your stress level right on up. Your in-laws may be visiting. Yeah. For some,
that could be an issue. That's right.
And car problems, and of course, then weight gain, financial problems, headaches, and also, another stressor is health.
Yes.
If we have a new diagnosis of having diabetes, you're constantly thinking about what are your blood sugars today? What am I going to be able to eat for lunch? What if you've got a meeting with a coworker and you've got to worry about what restaurant you're going to go to, what kind of food you're going to eat? All these things can create stress.
And the thing is those are playing on your mind. Sometimes you know it, and sometimes you don't know it. The people that are outside of us, outside of our inside person, can see those things sometimes. We don't even realize it. One that I saw here that works especially for us in the county, and anybody who works a regular job, work deadlines. That can also cause a lot of stress.
Yes.
And that, again, connecting that stress back to the Alcohol Awareness Month, sometimes people are looking for something to maybe numb those worries. Right. Is that where your alcohol, abuse might start coming into play?
Right, because, alcohol does interferes with our neurons in our heads. Our serotonins, our dopamines. Those are our feel-good, and sometimes they inhibit those from working like they should, and it causes that feel-good.
But the thing is, that only stays for just a little while, doesn't it?
That's right, and then your stress comes back because you're.
And sometimes that monster's a little bit bigger than it was when you left it earlier.
That's right. That's right.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for meeting with us today. We're hoping right here with Channel 10 and on our social media, our Facebook and also YouTube accounts, that we'll have versions of our monthly meetings here with you together. And as I said, next month it looks like we'll be looking at skin cancer and some of the things that go along with that. Yeah. Before we leave, is there anything kind of to wrap things up that you'd like to share with everyone when it comes to alcohol awareness, maybe something we've already gone over or you really feel is important for people to watch as a caution?
Look for slurred speech or the smell of alcohol. If you start noticing that the one you're concerned about is having more than one drink, speak up, say something. Just don't let it continue to go on.
We often hear that see something, say something for anything horrible that might be going on in the street, but we also need to do the same thing for the health of our loved ones too.
That's right. That's right. Because you could be the one that saves their lives.
That's right. Or vice versa, they might help save ours too. That's very true. Michelle, it's so good to see you today. And thank you so much for this important information. And we'll be back to see you next month right here on WGTV.